Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Can It Take a K26, the show where we take a variety of blasters and see if they can be upgraded using a K26 spring. I am your host, Captain Xavier, and today we're going to be looking at some elite blasters that got missed last year, starting with the Ruckus IC8, so named, of course, because it has a inline clip that holds 8 rounds. It could also stand for integrated clip, since this one doesn't actually come out, but the Battle Strike also had ICS, and it was removable, so I assume it stands for inline clip. At least that's a theory. It does use what is technically a harmonica slide. It's more clip-like than most of the clip system blasters, but it holds 8 rounds. Why it's called the Ruckus, I haven't the foggiest idea. It is top prime. When you prime it, it ratchets the clip up, then you fire it, it ratchets, and so on and so forth. It does have slam fire, which was kind of an unexpected feature, honestly. Doesn't really bode well for this show, though, because slam fire mechanisms tend to be a little bit more finicky and thus less prone to taking K26. But we're going to find out. First, we're going to get the stock numbers. Just in the off chance that it can take a K26, I want to know how much of an improvement it is. So, to the chronograph. All right, let's get some stock numbers. 72. 74, 66, 72, 73. So, you know, elite numbers. Alright, to the range. Alright, here we are on the range with the Ruckus. Let's see if we can hit anything at all. I hit the tree. Oh, it's going right at it. The feared. Behave yourself. Behave yourself! So apparently, that's a thing it does. Nope. I got a hit! Almost. 2 hits! Got one more round. Ah, nothing. So, apparently if you prime down and then bring it up too fast, it'll drop on you. Yeah, right. See if we can make this any better. Right. So, about what you would expect from elite performance, elite accuracy, but we want to know if we can upgrade it. So, let's get this thing open and see if it can take the K26. Alright, so we're in, and it seems fairly straightforward. It's got a fairly standard slam fire mechanism where when the trigger is pulled and you fully prime, this part gets pushed forward, which then releases the catch. Alternatively, when it's pulled forward and you pull the trigger, it will go back and release the catch. We want to get in here and see. Well, that all comes out in one little self-contained unit. That's handy. I'm going to go out on first of all, that offset prime is going to be an issue from the get-go. And it looks like it's got a very, you know, I'm not going to jump to conclusions. I'm going to go ahead and take this to the full train. Ruckus. Well, it is easy to get the spring out, so that's handy. And K26 will technically fit, so we've got a slightly shorter section of it. Nope. So I've cut it to the exact same length as the stock spring, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5 coils. It will fit. Question is going to be, can it get enough compression? Can the priming mech handle it? The usual concerns. Alright, well, we got K26 in there. Whether we'll get enough compression or whether the priming mechanism is going to be able to handle that spring load, I don't know. We will get this thing buttoned back up and give it a test. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Petunia.
That man's gone silly on me. Nope. Cannot get enough compression for it to catch. And it would be basically impossible to prime. So, gonna call it a no. I'm gonna take it back apart and swap the old spring back in just so it'll actually still function. Right, well that was a no for K26 for the Ruckus, but given the size of the spring, it looks to be roughly the same size as most of the magazine-fed blasters, so you could probably upgrade it with any of the springs for, say, a strong arm or a retaliator or what have you, though it was very short, which means you might have to cut it down, which means it might not be much of an upgrade. You might have to get a heavier one, and since you're cutting it down, you'd lose some of that power. Don't know. I didn't have any that particularly suited that particular length, so... Something doesn't seem to be working anymore. I appear to have buggered something up. It's not going to stay forward. Balls. I fixed it. So that's a no for the Ruckus. No surprise there. Let's move on to the next contestant after these messages. All of the K26 used on this series was donated by Out of Darts. Check out his new website at outofdarts.com for all your Nerf modding needs. Our next contestant was going to be the Delta Trooper. I filmed it. I edited it. I had it uploaded and ready to go. Then I, fortunately, checked my Instagram comments and where I'd uploaded a thumbnail of the a teaser of the thumbnail, and somebody had mentioned that I'd already done the Delta Trooper back in episode 76, I believe. So I had to scramble and find a replacement. Fortunately, I had another Elite Blaster in package, brand new, never been sniffed, sitting in my shipping container, and so our replacement contestant is the Scout Mark II. The Scout Mark II was released in 2018 as part of the Elite line. It is very similar to the Quadrant. I don't know which one came first. It is a 4-barrel rear-primed revolver, and I like it. I like the form factor. I like the fact that it has a handguard. I like handguards for some reason. The Quadrant is obviously in my colors, so I favor that. And it does have that very crunchy prime, which I always felt was weird in the Quadrant, and it's just as weird here. There's just something clicky or crunchy or strange about the way it primes, in my opinion. But other than that, I like it. Let's get those stock numbers and then see if we can improve this thing. To the chronograph. Let me try this one. Here we go. 67. 70. 61. 70. Strangely inconsistent, but not bad. Your standard elite numbers. Alright, see if I can hit anything with it. To the range! Alright, see if we can hit anything with the Scout Mark II. I hit! I hit! Oh, that one's weird. 3 out of 4! That's not too bad. We're all over the place. I'm pretty sure I just got lucky. Better ammo obviously would do better. Alright, let's bust it open. See if we can make it any better. Well, no surprises. Standard elite performance. Let's pop it open and see what we can do with it. Let us find out if it can take a K26. in. And yeah, it's pretty much identical to a quadrant, so there isn't a whole lot of hope of K26 fitting, but yeah. Same design. It's got, the spring has to be able to compress into the plunger head in order for it to be able to get enough compression to catch, and that's definitely going to be too small for K26, but let's grab a chunk just to be sure. Yeah, that's going to be far too wide to fit into that plunger head, and since that is the catch, that is the part that interfaces with the catch, there's just no way that you're going to be able to like trim it or anything like that. That's interesting though. Yeah, that's the other reason you couldn't trim it, is that's the rotation mech right there, which is why it's all weird sounding, I think. Now you can, if you have the right spring, you can increase the spring. I'm not sure how I did it on my quadrant. I don't remember anymore. I think I added a spring rather than replacing one. I might have replaced it. It is I do have one that is a heavier prime, and it's even crunchier sounding, because I think it's multiple springs that are then bunching up on each other. But the plunger head is not removable easily. You could still, obviously, bend the spring up over this and unwind it without doing too much damage, and then you'd have to put a spring on that same way. But you'd need a fairly specific spring in order for it to fit, because there's very little give given the size of the plunger rod and the space that goes into the head there. Now, if you had the right spring, there is a certain amount of space. If I can demonstrate this without breaking anything. There actually is a fair amount of uncompressed spring there. And so I think that was how I got it to work. I wonder, though. I wonder. You know what? I'm going to try something foolish. Try something ill-advised. That's what I meant by you could just thread a spring over the top of that priming handle. Still going to chew it up a little bit on the way in, but not too bad. Now, here is what I am banking on. Mentioned that there was a fair amount of uncompressed. Oh, no, really? Oh, phooey. I was hopeful, but it looks like it's not gonna work. I'm gonna try it anyway. This is ill-advised, and I may break something, but I want to give it a try anyway. Well, I managed to get the shell closed, so we're gonna button it up. But first, a word from our sponsor,
Moon.
You really can't argue with that. Right, so something completely unexpected happened. It fit. It caught. This currently has the stock spring and a K26 in. The K26 is just wound in over the stock spring, and against all expectations and probability, it catches. It does still have its AR in, so it doesn't sound too horrific. Let's get the new numbers to the chronograph. Alright, it took a K26. Let's find out how well. 73, 81, 92, 27? That's weird. I have no idea what's going on now. Let's take it to the range, see what happens out there. Alright. Let's see how this thing performs in the field. Ugh. Well, that one had power. I got nothing. Let's go talk about this thing. Right, well that was technically a yes, but the performance was massively decreased. Probably due to that spring not fitting in there well. I think it might be catching the catch mechanism on the way forward, or it might be causing the plunger head to be offset and not firing correctly. The AR doesn't seem to be disengaging correctly. All sorts of problems. So I am going to take that back out as soon as I'm done with this video. But for now, let's recap. Train! Alright, for those of you just tuning in or who just skipped to the end to see the results, that was a no for the Ruckus IC8, and that was technically a yes for the Scout Mark II, but it actually suffered a severe performance decrease as a result of putting a K26 in there. Obviously, both of these could be easily upgraded with springs that were specifically made for them that would actually fit and not cause any problems with the internals, but K26 is not the spring, nor do I have the correct spring at this time. Let me know what blasters you would like to see next time. Obviously, I am in the process of acquiring the new springers from Adventure Force and X-Shot, and they will be shown soon. If there are any blasters from the past that I missed that you would really like to see, go ahead and put those down in the comments, and I will try to get them on the list. In the meantime, thank you guys for watching. Bye!